like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show if you would. It's free. You know, that's the easiest way to do it. Yep. I wish somebody would just think of maybe all I want is a quarter for every sniff we had to sit through tonight, and we could build a new studio. So this I got to jump into it. Now, I'm not going to do all of this, obviously, because it would be a fucking waste of time of mine and yours. But this is our dear friends at Flashpoint, the butt knuckle of the internet, the absolute bottom of the cliff. We haven't visited these assholes in a long time, but Don Jr., things are so desperate that, you remember how like Trump just recently said, like, Don's become a very hard person, like he's angry, he's got a lot of anger or whatever, mainly probably because he's just not taking his dad's shit anymore, or he's afraid his dad is fucking up the business. And Don liked being a New York businessman, and his dad's gonna keep him from, you know, out of those out of that sweet coke and ass that's all over that city from this point on. He's gonna have to do like his stupid hunting trips where he kills, you know, exotic animals while they're tied to a tree. But so he's a little pissed, obviously, and you can tell that things are not going well, or he wouldn't be on fucking Flashpoint. And he's with Gene the Jesus Machine, and I gotta say, the fuck is going on with Lanny Walnuts? We have not seen him in a while. He's grown kind of like this weird beard, and he's got these like paint on fucking Halloween eyebrows right now, and he's got a toop that doesn't quit. It really does. I mean, I don't know if it's held on with staples or whatever. I mean, you can see the line, but that doesn't stop him. It's there. I mean, I'm always afraid he'll move his head fast and he'll do the, you know, the forward slip. I don't know who this guy is, but he looks like a party. Let's give it a shot. It's Gene the Jesus Machine. Yeah, here you go.
Speaking of being canceled, let me show you this, Don. Gina Griswold posts, Colorado's 24 presidential primary ballot is certified. The United States Supreme Court has accepted the case, and Donald Trump will appear on the ballot as a result. You know, your
will it though?
Dad just
will he though?
Is almost the poster child of being canceled, suppressed, sued, arraigned, all of these things, and.
Yeah, well, I mean, don't forget a sexual assault. I mean, he's really I would say he's almost like the patron saint of sexual harassment in general. And also, of all the presidents that partied with Jeffrey Epstein, he's got the most time on the board.
Yet he still keeps coming out. What do you think of all these trying to keep him off the ballot? This is crazy.
Well, it's insane. And don't forget, I mean, that's still a very leftist, state. If the Supreme Court said
it's a very leftist state
something or gave them some sort of wiggle room, they would try to make sure to take him off the ballot. You saw the Secretary of State in Maine do something very similar, just not based on a case, based on some YouTube videos she saw.
Yeah, well, in her defense, January 6th is all over YouTube. You can watch not only like super cuts of it, you can also watch like raw footage. You can watch some of the people that have been sentenced talking about why they did it and that they thought they were taking direct orders from the president himself. Some of them have even made that defense in court.
Unilaterally just deciding it. So the people who screech the most about democracy and such, even though we're a constitutional republic, I think they want it.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's hard for them to like go, you don't even like democracy. I mean, I hate democracy, but you don't even like it. You say you like it, but you don't want people who've previously taken an oath and violated that oath to try and take the oath again because their oath ain't worth shit.
It has to be a democracy so they can vote away your rights. But they do this stuff. They function unilaterally. And has tweets about, all of the things that they're very hypocritical about. And
yeah, that's what they do. They just basically like hypocritically, tweet stuff that they don't really care about and act like they care about it. I don't know. I've never heard of anybody doing that.
Yet one person decided, not based on anything, not based on a conviction or any findings of guilt or anything to...
Right.
Any findings of guilt? He was impeached for January 6th. He tried to use double jeopardy as a way of getting out of being tried for it in the Jack Smith case. He wasn't removed from office because he was already out of office. And Mitch McConnell didn't want to do that because he was like, the courts will handle this. That right.
Unilaterally take one person off of the ballot. That's not even a committee. She's not even a lawyer, and it was
she doesn't have to. States can do it. And by the way, all he needs is 2/3 of the vote in the House and the Senate, and he can be back on the ballot everywhere.
Based on literally videos she saw on YouTube or something insane. I mean, it is lunacy. And so the left is projecting a lot these days. They're showing all of their cards. They're doing and saying all of the things we said that they would do.
Well, in their defense, that's like saying, like, you rob a bank and you're like, I told you they'd call me a bank robber while I was in court for being tried for bank robbery. I knew it. These fuckers are always going to call me a bank robber, even if I wasn't caught.
And, you know, they're showing just how much they don't believe in democracy or anything like that.
Let me show
Like,
let me show you this, Don.
Also, we do believe in democracy. As a matter of fact, for the record, if this asshole's dad had pulled that Jan 6 shit in 2017, if he'd have lost the first time before he became president and then was trying to run again, he'd have every right to, because he hadn't taken an oath and then broken it. You can't, once you break the oath, then you can't be trusted to take the oath again. That's the standard. The standard isn't that we can vote for fucking anybody, because you can't vote for somebody under 35. You can't vote for a foreign citizen or somebody who was born overseas. So, and you certainly can't vote for somebody who took part in an insurrection after they had taken the oath.
This is, I think this was from Fox, posted this graphic. States with suits, I did not know it was to this point, to bar Trump from the ballot. The yellow is pending cases, blue are dismissed, green is pending appeal, red, of course, is Colorado and Maine. And speaking of Maine, she doesn't even have the right. She's not legally, she can't take his name off the ballot. Yeah, she's done that. And then the other.
Well, then they'll print the ballots and nothing will fucking happen.
Color there, orange, is voluntary dismissal by plaintiff. You know, this is simply lawfare. It's just keep this thing up in the public eye, keep it spinning to hopefully
remind everybody that he was part of an insurrection and tried to steal power in the United States of America, to remind people of that. You think we would have forgotten?
Something will take. Do you really think they think this is going to work?
You know, I think their idea is, you know, they're sort of venue shopping like they are with, you know, having cases in D.C. where, you know, Trump's never going to be able to get a fair trial. Like,
yeah, too many people spent time with him.
Like you are in Fulton County, Georgia, where, you know, the same. And so.
Well, that's because, you know, obviously black people, you know, because Republicans, you know, stealing their votes for a long time and then ultimately just trying to do it wholesale when they actually lost. That's kind of. Yeah.
I think their theory is, you know, if you throw enough stuff on the wall, eventually something will stick. I think that's what they're hoping for. They're trying to do anything.
Well, it's interesting how fucking sticky your dumbass dad is.
They can. They're trying to rig an election. They're trying.
No, they're trying to protect an election by, unfortunately, I guess for maggots, making it so that Republicans can only choose someone who didn't take the oath and then break it.
Trying to jail they're, you know, clearly their biggest opponent politically.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have the ability to do that if he hadn't stolen classified documents, for example. And he knows he stole classified documents, or he wouldn't have returned some of them in a red-welled envelope, knowing full well that they hadn't been declassified. That is mens rea. That's a knowledge. He knows he was guilty. It's awareness of guilt.
All of the things that they yell about when it happens in third world banana republics are happening right here in.
Are there fourth world banana republics, or are there second world banana republics?
In the United States. Like I said, it's dystopian. This is, you know, the Marxist playbook, and the Democrats are running it, you know, full.
How's it? Why would I think in the Marxist playbook just to like charge the houses of the rich and I guess what, murder landlords? Isn't that the Hassan Abi? Sorry, Hamas Abi. I keep mispronouncing that. Isn't that his whole plan? You know, even though he's a landlord now.
They're going all in on this stuff, and they're showing their hand. I just hope enough people actually wake.
Well, they're showing their hand because they're going straight flush. Thank you. The problem is they're showing their hand because they've got a great hand, and your dad isn't, because he's got a 2, a 7, a 5, a 9, and a jack.
Up to see what's going on, and they.
all different suits. I don't even know how he managed to do it. One of them must have purple hearts or green clovers on.
Understand that we have to push back against this stuff, because once it goes this way, they don't just give back those freedoms. They don't just say, okay, you know what?
Oh, you mean like when your dad's a dictator for a day? So what you're saying is if somebody says they're going to be a dictator for a day, you're clearly not going to stop being a dictator. What are you going to do? Tomorrow wake up and there's that dictator hat. It's just fucking sitting there on the table. And you're not going to wear it? I mean, come on. Right you are.
We got Trump. We got what we wanted. Now we're going to go back to normal. This will become our very existence.
No, honest. Oh, Grace, happy birthday, Grace. You notice no charges have been filed against Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis or fucking even Mitt Romney. People who, Jesus Christ, we didn't even file charges against George W. Bush. There's an argument to be made that there's a case there. That somehow, maybe you don't realize, and I can't believe this, maybe you just can't realize how special your dad is. How unique he is in American history. That he's not just your run-of-the-mill asshat kleptocrat. No. He's a one-of-a-kind asshat kleptocrat. And the last of a shitty breed.
And, again, I don't think it's a stretch to say that.
No, yeah.
Well, of course you don't think it's a stretch because your very existence is predicated on assholes like the people who actually watch Flashpoint, which, by the way, you got the logo over. What? Why are you putting name in the little... That shitty type looks bad. Looks bad. It just looks lame. I'm just saying. I mean, I understand my lettering is a little silly and the graphics are a little bunched up or whatever, but I do this by myself. You bought this graphics package online. It should look better, I think. Don't you have any professionals that can work for you at Flashpoint?
It's not. In fact, speaking of that,
for free because they're helping Jesus.
Look at this poll. Now, take into fact, this is CBS. All right. So, you got to take that into account. But look, this is what people said by party. If you take Trump's name on ballot, states should take Trump's name off. 81% Democrats, 19% say keep Trump's name on. 90% of Republicans say keep his name on.
Shocking.
10% say take his name off of Republicans. But the one I want to show you is look at that independent number right there in the middle. Still, CBS poll, 56% still say keep his name on. It continues.
Yeah, but 19% of Democrats are saying keep his name on. It isn't because they're going to vote for him. Look at the number again, dickhead. 90% of Republicans are not voting for Donald Trump. They aren't. They just think his name should be on there if he wins the nomination. That's the thing. Because it's a principled thing with them. They don't understand that since he already took an oath, he can't run again because he broke the oath. And this is not about democratic choice. This is about somebody whose oath ain't worth shit. The Indies are split relatively evenly, margin of error, putting them close to about 51, 49, some zone in that, whatever. But that doesn't mean that all these fuckers are going to vote for him. Doesn't even mean the people who think his name should be off there are going to automatically even vote. And Democrats, 81%, 19% of Democrats are like, keep his name on. They're not going to vote for, not a single one of those motherfuckers are going to vote for him. They're like, yeah, leave it on because we can kick his ass. He's going to lose. This would be, by the way, the category that I'm in. You think I'm going to vote for that dumb motherfucker? You think I support him? And by the way, I think his name should be there. Every reason why his name should be removed. It's totally legal. If they want to do it in some of these states, totally do it. If somebody was to ask me to do it, I probably wouldn't because of the attention it would give him in this particular instance. But it's not because I don't think it shouldn't happen.
56% still say keep his name on. It continues to astound me in a good way how no matter what keeps thrown at President Trump,
what keeps throwing
seems to only fuel his fight for 2024.
Asshole, like I said, 19% of Democrats are not going to vote for fucking Donald Trump. This is an argument about whether or not these people even understand why his name is being taken off, or if they think it's just a matter of like everybody's choice should be able. He meets the criteria. He doesn't meet the criteria. He was involved in an insurrection. That's why he can't. You can choose somebody else. Most of them think it's like, I don't know, he hasn't been found guilty of something, so he should be taken off. That's not the standard. The standard is he took an oath and he violated it.
Well, listen, I think so. I mean, I think if they picked one thing that was actually real instead of just making up 30 things and hoping.
He returned classified documents in a fucking red-weld envelope because he was aware that they were classified still and had to be treated as classified. So that means he did not declassify magically everything that left the office. That means the other shit that he kept that they found later, the hundreds of documents and the stuff that's still missing and the entire binder of raw Russian intelligence that fucking evaporated is reason for him to go to fucking jail. That's it. Also, shut the fuck up and go find me 10 extra floors on 40 Wall Street. Seriously, go down there, stand there outside in a t-shirt and jeans and count the fucking windows until you get to 76 goddamn floors. Go to his apartment and measure the motherfucker until you reach 30,000 square feet. And you can't measure the floor and then measure the ceiling as two different surfaces. That doesn't work. It still wouldn't even get you there. It would just double it.
They may be able to fool the people, but I think the last few years, a lot of people have really awakened to what's going on in our government. They see that.
Yes, they have. They've all gone back to work, and they're all going to vote for Joe Biden because your dad's a fucking lunatic and a traitor. He's just a shitty human being who only cares about himself.
Disparate treatment. They see the ridiculousness of all of these cases and the desperation.
Yeah, but the only ridiculousness about the cases is how stupid your dad had to be to think he could get away with it.
And the ridiculous lengths the other side is going to. And I think it's having the reverse effect.
Well, again, if you're dealing with something ridiculous, you're going to get ridiculous on you. That's just how it works.
People are actually understanding just how corrupted our government is. The people.
Well, was. I mean, your dad's gone, and I'm sure he's still got some of his people in there somewhere, but eventually they'll, I don't know, quit and go work for the Proud Boys.
Who already had a lot of distrust in government, and they realize now.
Yeah, you're really cleaned up with the sovereign citizen vote. The ones that vote, which none of them do, but
that whatever they had, it was not enough. And that same would go for disdain in what's going on right now in our government. So it's scary. It's pretty sad. And
what are the disdain numbers?
The reason the other side, and frankly, the deep state and the Washington elite on both sides.
Yeah, both sides of the Washington elite. And by the way, is there a right wing and a left wing deep state that fights each other along with the elites? And do the elites run the deep state, or the elites are controlled by the deep state on either side? And has there ever been a situation where the left wing deep state has something on a right wing elite, or crisscross vice versa, and you don't know who's running shit? Or perhaps you're a deluded fuck and there is no deep state.
Trump's the only guy that can break up that system. He's the only guy that they
Yeah. But what are you going to use? What's the standard? Is fucking marriage? He could totally break up these. That's the thing. Nobody like my dad can anything. Shit that used to work. Nobody destroys shit that used to work like my dad. That's an excellent standard. Hold on one second. I got to put something in there. Try to put this in here. There we go. If I may. And what's the properties on this guy? One second. There we go. You loop it. Got it down to here. Sorry, I'm fucking around as I'm wont to do. Now, obviously, I don't have any insight into the government or whatever, and I oh shit, they found out. Right. I've just decided to put that there for all the people who are like, you're a CIA plant. You're the military-industrial complex runs you. What really? Whatever gave you that idea? That's it's funny. I have to work for the CIA. They're the only people who know how to get me my Soros checks to my hidden volcano lair. All right, so it's just stupid. Hold on, I'll turn that off for next time. All right. I have to create buttons for these things because it's too much work. Totally a spook. Boo. Oh God. All right.
Actually fear. They realize everyone else they control. They don't control Trump, and that's what scares them all.
No one can Trump. They don't control Trump. Trump doesn't even control his fucking bowels. The lack of control is the problem. It's about his self-control. We don't give a fuck. Nobody. It's not an issue with people being controlled. If it was, then why was there differences between Obama and Bush and Clinton and Bush Sr. and Reagan at all? If there's a big fucking deep state that runs everything, are all policies window dressing? Is that what we're doing now?
Ultimately, they need that power and they need the control.
Right, and Trump does not need control. He wears Depends, and when you have those, then you just throw control to the wind, and I do mean wind.
All right, Don, I know I got to let you go here, but I want to ask you.
Yeah, I got to let you go, like Trump's bowels do.
One last question. Going in, we were believing and praying that this wouldn't take this long to.
Mm-hmm. You were no. For the record, Gene, the Jesus machine, you were not believing and praying. You were prophesying that Donald Trump would be put back in office within 6 weeks of Biden taking office. You don't give me this shit about you were praying. You were insisting. Fucking Lanny Walnuts was saying that God told him personally. That's why. What's the other dude? The fucking giant caterpillar eyebrows they used to have. Like the Kenny dude or whatever. That fucker was on his. They used to play clips of this asshole prophesying while music played in the background that Trump was going to immediately be reinstated as president. Yeah, Hank Kuhneman, right? Skank Kuhneman, that fucking dude. Yeah, you're preying on people.
To see this righted, the ship righted, and your dad back in office. But as we go into this last year of election process and seeing everything happen,
election process? You mean the last year of Biden's first term?
What's the one thing, I want to know two answers. What's the one thing you're concerned about, and what's the one thing you feel?
The price of coke right now. Fentanyl has really clogged up the stuff. They keep seizing all the fentanyl, and a bunch of coke is seized along with it. It's really hard to get. I got to drive all the way to fucking Miami.
Really good about going into November.
Well, I feel really good about the enthusiasm. I mean, I see it every day.
Yeah. We don't have a lot of followers, but boy, are they fucking loud.
The amount of people come.
And the clothes, Jesus. They've crowbarring pictures of my dad's face on their shirt so much that each one of them, like, I even asked my dad about it. I was like, you got pictures of like your face in their armpit. Like this one guy has Trump pants, which means one of your faces is right over his asshole. He's like, well, it's enthusiasm. There's so much enthusiasm.
Coming up to me. I mean, and not just people who are sort of, always MAGA Republicans, but people who are just, again, getting all the things that I've been talking about.
Yeah, just random people who, they are wearing the MAGA hats, and I have seen them at dozens of rallies, and they do follow us everywhere, but they're not the ones I haven't talked to yet. There's like 36 of them, and I've only had conversations with 4. So I talked to some of the other ones, and man, the enthusiasms.
Understand that. They understand what is at stake, and really everything is at stake in terms of.
Yeah. I mean, which is not hard to understand. Yeah, that's easy to understand. Everything. Fucking everything.
Our freedoms and our liberties and all of the things that we truly hold dear. I think that.
Such as?
Things that I'm afraid of is, the unknowns. What are the games that the other side will play, right?
Well, I don't think they have to play. They're in power now. Right? Maybe they had to play games and rig the election when your dad was the president and had control over the entire fucking government. But I mean, now that they're in play, I don't even know why they'd even need to, you know, why in the world would they need games at all? Why don't, I mean, your dad just argued in court that, you know, they could just, Biden could get him picked up in a black helicopter and dropped into the ocean and not, it wouldn't even be illegal. So yeah, that would concern me. My biggest concern if I was you is your dad winning that stupid fucking argument about immunity. Because seriously, if that's the case, every breath he takes is because Joe Biden lets him live. Good Lord.
Proven they don't care about, you know, the sound bites that they throw out there. They don't care about democracy. It's a laughing point for them.
It's a laughing point. Yes, it's a point laughter.
And they just play those games much more.
You mean you're a laughing stock and therefore they laugh about you all right.
Viciously and much more aggressively than our side does. So
yes, that's the problem. Your side really just doesn't have any aggression. That's where you're really lacking. I don't think you should try something really aggressive. Maybe, I don't know, like but you can't do Jan 6. That's already been taken, I guess. Oh, that was you. Oh, my bad.
You know, I'm hoping that we are able to combat whatever insanity they're going to throw at whether it's my father.
Well, I like your strategy. Fight insanity with insanity. That's great. Never, yeah, if you think your opponent is an old, stuttering, sundowning fart who can't find his way off stage, then just act just like him. Your dad's doing a great job.
Father.
Fight fire with who left the stove on.
Or frankly, that they would throw at anyone else to just win and take total control of our country. So, you know, it's the unknown that's a little bit.
Throw at anyone to just win, to take control. You mean the deep state on the Republican side? Is that what he means? I don't know.
Scary, but you know something's coming, so you just got to prepare for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know what's coming, so you can't technically prepare. You know what I mean? It's like if you think a fire's coming, you're going to prepare differently than a flood, let's just say. Unless your idea of being prepared is just what, anxiety and panic? Is that the...
Absolutely. All right.
Lanny, look, you're on camera, fuckwad. Look up. Jesus Christ, man. They cut to you. They told you in your ear.
So let me bring in the guys here. You know, Lance, you know, I'm sitting here looking at Don and, you know, his name.
And you know, and it's hard to keep your lunch down.
Super says co-founder of Winning Team Publishing. This is exactly what you and I have talked about.
Wait a minute. Did that guy just have a mild stroke or fart while we were watching? Hold on. I can't be the only one that saw that. Hold on. Back the fuck up. This guy, who I don't know who he is, but hold on.
Says co-founder of Winning Team Publishing. This is exactly what you and I
Did you see that one? Oh, he just like
talked about, you longer than me, about Seven Mountains. He was kind of forced into this to get some things published because no publisher would pick, you know, their authors. Nobody would do it, and yet so here he is with Winning.
Well, in the defense of these authors, these publishing companies, he wasn't an author. He was taking pictures and post that he ripped off of Instagram and that were the property of other photographers and trying to put out a coffee table book just to squeeze more money out of his maggot fans. And real publishing houses were worried about being sued.
Team Publishing taking back a mountain. Your thoughts, Lance, before we let him go.
What's happening, Albert?
Well, one of the advantages we have, and this is really encouraging to all of us, is they took...
Is the beard fake too? I'm starting to think it's painted on. I know the hair's fake, but is the beard... Do you think it looks like... I'm going with the airbrush. I think his beard is airbrushed on. I don't think that's real. I won't believe... I don't know. Nope. I refuse. I'm not... Nope. It's airbrush. Yeah. Yeah, Lanny Walnuts. That's what we call him.
President Trump off of Twitter and off of Facebook. Since then, Elon Musk has grabbed Twitter, turned it
you mean like, yeah, and I thought Trump was the grabby guy.
into
right?
X. You've got Rumble now rolling as an alternative platform for all of us canceled and constantly edited on YouTube.
Well, yeah, I mean... It's minor stuff, though, if you're on YouTube. And like, I'm on YouTube as well, and I just try to be careful not to call for violence against my fellow human beings. And I know, as an alleged evangelical, I guess, prophet, that's hard for you to do. I mean, it's got to be rough as a Christian, preacher like yourself. That's all revelations all the time, but it can be done. I'm just saying.
So we have an alternative economy in terms of ideas.
Okay, so and it's doing well. So the economy is doing well. Okay, that's what I hear you saying.
And that means that the field is level. And like you saw in the
Nah. Rumble is not an equal to YouTube. It's not the case. And X, with all of its bullshittery, is basically turning into Getter. It's like a cross between Getter and the toilet stall wall in a truck stop in the single most racist chunk of highway in America.
Data on trying to take Trump off the ballot. That 50%, 55%,
56%.
That's the Joe Rogan Independent.
Right. No, it isn't. The Joe Rogan Independents, who are too stoned to vote half the time.
That's the Russell Brand Independent.
Oh, okay. So it's sexual assault you're going for. That's that angle. The Russell Brand one. You didn't get the fucking memo on Russell lately? You're just gonna forcible rape. I mean, they're talking about forcible rape. Like it's not like even the stuff that Trump tries to dodge on. Like she really wanted it, or she's too ugly for me to attack. It was like straight up, yeah. Like charges are being filed. Like
that's the Jordan.
Yeah, I know you're a stoner and you vote. I'm talking about this specifically the conspiracy-minded, Joe Rogan types.
Peterson Independent. I got news for you, man. You're not going to be able to
the Jordan Peterson Independent. They're all Canadians, though. They can't vote unless they move down here like Ted Cruz.
Control the news cycle like you used to, and the pushback is going to be strong this year.
Oh, it's going to be keep pushing, Lanny. Keep pushing. If you push a little harder, the hair will stop coming out your ears and come out more on your face. It'll be fine.
I agree. Rob McCoy, your thoughts?
I agree, but only because that's how we shut you up, Laney.
Before we let Don go?
The micro is going to surpass the macro.
Yeah, boom, slam dunk, mic drop. The micro is going to surpass the macro. The mac and cheese is going to be the mic drop. With the Mike Rose, who does dirty jobs.
Traditional media or legacy media is becoming irrelevant, and these smaller outlets are growing in significance. And
yeah, but it's still small. That's the thing. It was supposed to take over. It didn't take over. As a matter of fact, all the independent media types who are patting themselves on the back for being independent media are always citing the legacy media. That's the big thing. Like, as the Washington Post says, like, okay, fucko, either they're the enemy or they aren't. Admit they're your source, and therefore, if you're to be trusted, they're to be trusted. And all right,
that's where the American people are going. They're gravitating towards truth, and we're grateful for the.
No, they're not. Truth Social is losing a lot of money, and also, according to Rudy Giuliani, there is no truth. Truth isn't truth. You know, and I'm sorry, Rob McCoy, please continue.
President pursuing and
pastor of Godspeak
being
Church
persistent
in Thousand Oaks. Oh, I could visit that place. I could visit Rob McCoy, and that's not a threat. I mean, I go to church. I'm a decent, I sing the hymns. I'll sit quietly or whatever. I might have some questions after the service, though. I might, just for the record.
Not quitting, and you too, Don Jr. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Don.
No, we really appreciate it. And I think you're right.
Thank you guys for having, basically forcing your followers to vote for us. Because, if it wasn't for you keeping them fucking stupid.
They've always said, hey, build your own. Then they'll put up every roadblock imaginable. Oh, you don't like it? Build your own. Build your own. We're actually doing that. I'm doing it with a publishing company. We have Winning Team Publishing.
First of all, who's they, motherfucker? That's what you tell people, like, when you're wagging the bootstrapper finger at them.
Literally.
Build your own. You fucking live off your dad's tit, and he lives off his dad's. You're third-generation rich kid. Well, or second-generation debt kid. I think that's probably closer to true.
Mainstream publishers even if they would take a book, we had people pay an upfront and then not publish the book because they didn't want this out there, and not from radical people. These are sitting members of Congress.
Wait a minute. You're paying sitting members of Congress to publish your book, and then they didn't do what they do with the money. What?
You've seen what's going.
Hold on. I had to have heard that wrong. What?
Publishing company. We have Winning Team Publishing because literally mainstream publishers, even if they would take a book, we had people pay an upfront and then not publish the book because they didn't want this out there, and not from radical people. These are sitting members of Congress. You've seen what's going on with Public Square, sort of taking on Amazon and that model. That's
Okay. Public Square is not. By the way, these are just ads for companies he has a stake in. That's what this is about. Yeah, Roderick, I don't know what the fuck that was. Super fucking odd. So who are these sitting members of Congress who had publishing companies on that, and they didn't put your book out because of what? I'm gonna need a name. I'm gonna need a name and also an explanation, and also what the fuck?
It's gone so awry. Public Square, where you're linking up like-minded small businesses with people who
No, you're not. He is. This is one of, again, they started doing this thing where they were like, how do we bilk red state America? There's a reason why Donald Trump pardoned Steve Bannon after his build the wall bullshit, bilking money out of the, bilking maggots out of their money. And basically it was because next time he wants a cut. And that's what they did. They just set about this idea like, holy shit, these idiots will buy anything with your face on it, anything with your name on it. So let's start corralling these dumbasses on our own chunk of the internet. That's what it is. I mean, that's exactly the Lindell model. At one point, and that's why he's so fucked up, but because he decided after a while that he wasn't going to get everybody, but there was a group of people that would be like a captured audience, effectively. The maggot crowd would just buy all, if he can't sell a pillow to every 15th person in America by trying to sell it to everybody, he can sell it to every 10th person in America by only aiming at maggots. That's what his business plan was. The problem was, in doing so, he got himself kicked off the big box shelves, because to sell to that singular 10%, whatever, those people are so fucking bananas that nobody else wants to hear it. Nobody else wants to deal with it. You have to be so awful to appeal to that particular slice. But he did it anyways. And he lost all the big box stores, and because he was a traitorous dickhead in the process. The same thing here. They're like, oh, we could fucking set up our own Amazon, set up our own, version of Vote Blue, and just siphon this fucking money away from the RNC and just pad our own, feather our nest with it. That's what they're doing. And you know what? For the record, I'm for it. I applaud you, Don Jr. Please continue to rip off these dumb motherfuckers. Please keep stealing their shit. Knock yourself the fuck out. I don't care. And as a matter of fact, I think we had some maggots in the, we might have a couple of trolls out there, because there's a lot of maggots outside that wish they could get in.
Outside, it's packed.
Yeah, that's the thing about maggots, is that they want to get in, but they stay outside. I don't know what that's about. We got to have at least one in there. Maggot, I don't know why you're not giving all of your money to this guy's dad right now. Don't give it to a local Republican or a local race or whatever. What's wrong with you? Do you even maggot at all? Give it to Donald Trump, and he will snort it, eat it, and shit it out. That's the only way it's going to pay. He's not paying his legal bills, so it's not going to go anywhere but there. And it's going up his nose, in his mouth, and out his ass. That's it. That's all.
Actually want to support those businesses rather than giving it to the big woke corporations that are out there that are taking your heart.
You mean the ones that have everything that you need? Why don't you just drive them to your Etsy store? Like, I handprint these myself.
Hard-earned dollars and donating it to the causes that you would hate and that frankly hate you. Public Square has been a great avenue to do that.
He's got it listed. It's like back in the days when he was doing his own videos, right? He's got it written down. He's got his little list of This is a sales pitch. Make sure you capture the money that Flashpoint takes in. We want a slice of that, like the evangelical church that's based on the Kenneth Copeland, that we want a slice of Kenneth Copeland. We want his other fucking plane. That's what he's talking about. You slice off that chunk, you get one of Kenneth's plane, Don. You write that shit down. You make sure that half or all of their followers, instead of buying like Jim Bakker's bullshit end times meal packages, you buy yours. You go to that fucking place and start, don't let Glenn Beck jump in there and steal some of your shit.
The guys at Patriot Mobile taking on Woke Telecom.
Woke Telecom. Yeah, that's the hard part. You know what I get tired of? When I'm on the phone and I hear that click and I know the FBI is listening and I have to pretend to be an American. It's so hard,
The parent company of AT&T literally tried canceling Newsmax and OAN on TV.
Because they didn't have the ratings for the one cable channel spot that they had taken. They were going to push them to the tail end of it because they don't have the viewership. And they're like, we don't want to be down near the fucking music channels. And they're like, well, you don't get one of the premium spots just because you get interviews with Trump. You're not pulling the numbers. And they're like, well, then we'll leave. And they're like, then leave. We're not re-upping your contract. That's how it works.
So you have options now.
You do. Yeah, you could stay at home and watch Flashpoint on your fucking phone and stop bothering your relatives. It really is.
It's gone so far. The pendulum has swung so far that you have actually people really fighting back and combating it. So those are great options. But what people have to...
I don't even know. Yeah, I'm still stuck on woke telecom. I don't know what the fuck that is. I haven't been on the receiving end of my own calls lately. If I say something that's not politically correct, does it get bleeped out to the person on the other side?
Actually do.
I'm sick of doing texts and the autofill tries to make me nicer. Ducking? I didn't say ducking. What the shit? I mean, shut. What the hell? Hal, that's my name. Heel? Why would you put an apostrophe in hell? Ah, fuck you. Not duck you.
Is actually go out there and take that extra step to go support those businesses. Find out about...
You mean your businesses. He means his businesses.
Them. Utilize that service. Sign up. Don't just take the easy button of, well, I'm on Amazon, so I'm going to hit a button one time and I'll just order it that way because,
because you'll actually get it and you won't get ripped off and it'll arrive like it's supposed to and you trust it and you don't want to just put your fucking... because the same people who are behind Rumble are behind this fucking... public square thing, and they're responsible for the biggest dump of user information in internet history.
Something else takes 3 seconds. On public square, you now have they're growing these platforms, but we need everyone's help.
Yeah. The great thing about public square is that you can order stuff. It's just like Amazon, except you have to write everything longhand. Public Square is great because any item you want, you have to make a version of it, like build it out of cardboard, and then you mail them that version. And if it arrives in good shape, they'll go, "Oh, you want a TV?" And then they'll send you the bill, and then you pay it. But you have to mail them it in gold because or they also take Bitcoin, I suppose, but only hand drawn Bitcoin. And then you send it to them, and then they'll bring it to you on horse-drawn carriage.
We need to vote with our wallets and get out there and actually support these businesses.
Yeah, it's a good point, Mark. I think maybe you should go on Public Square and ease up on the frames and maybe get, I don't know, a ring light. This dude has been broadcasting in one form or another from this very desk for so fucking long. Just get a fucking light, dude. Get a light. How hard is that? What do you mean it's not available on Public Square? Just use Amazon. It'll be... Oh, right. Well, that's probably a problem.
This is because once you take away the dollars...
which way you take the lights? It's amazing.
The entire shift is going to be very dynamic.
It sure is.
Yeah, so, yeah. Also, totally. I was going to agree more, but I didn't know what the point was.
Thank you, Don. Winning Team Publishing. We're talking about go get the mtgbook.com. Thank you.
Go get the mtgbook.com. Wait, I'm supposed to buy that URL now?
Sir, God bless you and your family. And we'll be praying for you all this year.
He kind of is. You know what I mean? Because sometimes the hardest lessons are the ones we need to learn.
Have a good one, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. I was thinking during the break about
Well, you certainly weren't thinking during the broadcast. Hey-o.
what we just heard, and went to
Just heard? Sure, I'm with you.
look up this verse. Psalms 57, verse 6.
You had to look it up? Can't just quote it, Gene? How long you been doing this, man?
They have prepared a net for my steps. My soul is bowed down. They've digged a pit before me, and in the midst where they are fallen themselves.
Oh, you mean like Trump tried to wreck America and wreck the economy and fuck it up for everybody else and stuff, and he's actually in the pit that he's... Okay.
That is what has happened with the left.
Well, okay, first of all, I don't know what the fuck you mean by the left, but in this particular instance, it's Trump that's actually... He ran on lock her up, and he's going to get locked up. He ran on lock her up, and he's going to get locked up. He ran on lock her up, and he's going to get locked up. For fuck's sake, that Bible verse applies to him. Dum-dum. Good Lord.
And listen, we've been here. You've heard prophetic words about this.
Yeah, and none of them have panned out.
This is what we were going to see as we moved into this year.
Yeah, no, you did not project that Donald Trump was gonna fucking get kicked off of ballots and that he's gonna like be a stammering shit mess and all these things, or that he's gonna get found not only found legally liable for rape, but also defamation of his victim, and then do it again, and then end up in court again, where he's going to be found guilty again and pay a bigger fine. Where was that prophecy? I would have fucking clapped through that whole thing. And by the way, if God told you that Donald Trump was going to get like Mar-a-Lago was going to have a search warrant on it, and they were going to come in there and they were going to find classified documents. He was going to end up being tried for it, and that he very well may see jail time, mandatory jail time for this. And you knew about it because the Lord told you, and you didn't warn him to give back those documents. I think it's your fucking fault. I don't know about you guys, but I think if I was Trump, I would sue Flashpoint because they saw the future and didn't warn me. I would come on. Do you even prophesy, bro?
We're going to see this start to crumble. That does
You mean the Trump organization? Yes, that's true. Yeah.
not take the responsibility off of us.
Well, I mean, I don't think you can, all the king's horses, right?
We still have to keep our hand to the plow. We still must stay involved.
And no, I didn't. Who helped the farmers more than I give you $24 billion? Metaphorically, farmers. Whatever. Fuck you.
Stay in charge of what's going on, and don't Wayne, stay tenacious.
Okay. Also, shitty edit, can I just say this? All right. There's a point where your face makeup and your hair color shouldn't be the same tone exactly. I don't know if it's get a tan or choose a different dye shade. I mean, you have a lot of options out there, I could tell you. A lot of variety, a lot of possibilities. But this whole kind of like you've become a vision in beige. It's almost like he takes, instead of having a makeup artist, he just takes makeup and goes, you know what I mean? Just smears it from chin to the back of his head. And it's just, dude, you're the same color. I don't know what that is. Is it taupe? It's taupe, isn't it? That's taupe. I'm going to call it. Yeah. That's just, you're just dipping your head in a bucket of taupe. For the record.
Watch this short clip from his interview with Tucker about what was going on already inside the Capitol.
Oh, what was going on inside the Capitol?
By the time it was actually J6 and you had masses of Americans assembled outside the Capitol.
Yeah, the vast majority of the people that were there, though, went the other way. They just went the fuck home, and not a single one of them has been charged. I'm just saying. If they wanted to round up maggots or blame anybody who even set foot in D.C., like you say, It's a lot of fucking people right there that you could just be getting. I don't even know why they're bothering to look through evidence. Just round them the fuck up.
Almost like 99.9%, 100% peaceful. On the inside, you had FBI assets dressed as Trump supporters that knew their way around the Capitol.
No. First of all, plainclothes police officers or what have you that might have been in the area aren't maggots running around. By the way, fucking name drop somebody. This guy's also, you know how easy this shit is to just say? Literally zero evidence. Just make it the fuck up. This dude's in fucking government. If there was a single fucking person, you could go, this guy, like Ray Epps or some shit. They go after Ray Epps or whatever. Informants, are not agents. That's the other part too. But he's saying plainclothes FBI agents were dressed as maggots getting ready for this.
Before the doors even...
And by the way, if they were, let's just say they were, let's just entertain this fucking horseshit. Donald Trump's president of the United States. Not everybody in the FBI or in the DOJ or whatever is against Donald Trump. It very well could be that there were people there that were part of the plot to help Donald Trump, that were dressed as the followers to help guide them in, so because if they were dressed in suits, the people wouldn't listen or wouldn't know where to go. Perhaps you have found FBI agents that were working on behalf of Donald Trump and fucking Mark Meadows and that crowd. Do you ever think of that? How about that? Because how did they know they were going to come in? They would have had to run up the steps. What if they didn't run up the steps? You're just walking around in Trump gear? How the fuck did you get in here? FBI, this is it's our Halloween.
Before the doors open, or else how are you going to get around the Capitol? You've been
How are you going to get around the Capitol?
there many times. You need a
He's been there many times. You probably know your way around.
guide to get from whatever door you go in.
It's a labyrinth.
It's a maze inside there. So
That's why Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and others were giving odd tours to people the day before. What, you think these random assholes were looking for a specific target? They like, okay, I've heard dumb arguments about this. This one's amazing.
That's right. So there's no way, just Americans, most of which have never been to the Capitol, there's no way they can come in some random door that gets opened and then get their way directly to
Random door that gets opened. They punched their way through. And the random doors that were opened led to nowhere. That's, again, that was diverting the floodwaters. That was the process. Operation Divert the Floodwaters. That was when they were like, okay, we got all the interior doors closed. They're all coming up this way. Just tell them to come in this door because they can't go anywhere else but out. They go through this hallway. They'll make a left. They'll bang on some shit. They can't get through them. There's some fake doors that look like doors, but they're actually chunks of wall. They'll bang on them, be dickheads. They can't get out into the main, offices or any that way. If they come along this way, everybody's safe this direction, and if they walk in this hallway, they will go this way, up and down, and then they're going to find themselves out in the fucking parking lot again. That's what they did. Again, this guy doesn't sound like he's playing with a full deck, so
to the statuary or the House chamber or the Senate chamber. It's just not possible.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. How many people would you need to just that have been there a couple of times, or that got a tour, or were aware of it, or just followed the fucking mob until they found the right open door and then busted their way through? Jesus Christ! If there were FBI agents in there letting them in through the fucking doors, then why was there a cop stationed there that ended up having to shoot Ashley Babbitt?
So the FBI asked.
Yeah, I'm going long tonight. Just hanging out. Sorry. Just like that other fucking thing was so long. I was like, we got to ride this out. I'm not doing this whole thing either. I just want to get through this piece because it's fucking stupid.
Were dressed as Trump supporters that were inside the Capitol were there, I believe, and evidence indicates that they were there.
No, the evidence does not indicate that they were there. There were people who got in there and went, holy fuck, these motherfuckers are going to kill someone, and they called the cops. That's not being an FBI agent. That's having a weird shock of conscience in the middle of being in a mob.
There to specifically wave in the Trump supporters that had gathered outside the Capitol and the door.
Right. Who wouldn't, obviously they had to step over the blood of police officers that were beaten so that hole could be created, and what maggot wouldn't?
Doors open and they were allowed in, and on the inside were there's some more Trump supporters, but really those were FBI assets, law enforcement assets that knew.
Assets. Uh-huh. The ones that were telling them, which ones? The ones that were attacking people? Which one of the FBI assets nearly crushed that cop's spine with the door?
Their way around the Capitol, and they waved those guys in.
Okay, by the way, this is all I've realized what this is. This is what it is. This is what's going. This asshole has worked at the Capitol for a long time, and he still doesn't know his way around. He still doesn't know where his office is. He can't find the bathroom half the time. He always gets lost looking for the entrance to the tunnels. He gets lost trying to find where they're having meeting rooms. He usually has to follow someone to get to the meetings on time. He misses votes probably because he can't find his way back to the main chamber, and so he can't believe anybody else knows where they're going because he's fucking lost. That's exactly what this is. That is 100%.
And said, "Come on, follow us." And they're the ones that led them
outside
on the path directly. How do you think a guy's never been to the Capitol, gonna come into the Capitol all amped up on emotion?
Why would he be amped up on emotion? What peaceful, patriotic emotion are you talking about?
And make his way straight to Nancy Pelosi's office?
Well, it took him a while to find it, but it's actually, the Speaker's office is one of the easier ones. It's got a sign over it. I've walked past it several times. I've only been in the Capitol, 3 times? And I'm pretty sure I could find it. As a matter of fact, I've accidentally passed it. The Speaker's office, curiously enough, if anybody who's been in the chat room, I'm curious, anybody been to the Capitol? If you go to the Capitol, curiously enough, and hold on, I'm gonna the chat is way behind, so if you go to the Capitol, oddly enough, the Speaker's office is one of those where you're like, oh shit, that's Nancy Pelosi's office, right? When I've been there a couple of times where you're walking by, and you're like, oh, that's the Speaker's. Oh, that's good. All right, that's cool. Not even know that you're fucking there. Oh, thanks, Peggy. Yes, it's a marathon tonight. I'm making up for the fact that I missed shows and I'm grinding. Who cares? Anyways, yeah. So, but you know what I'm talking about? Anybody been there? And you walk, yeah, if you walk through, you're like, oh shit, there it is. Yeah. And you're right. And they did, Diane, specifically, they did get a tour. That was the whole thing.
Come on, man. All right, Rob, you heard from the great state of Louisiana, Clay Higgins there.
Who couldn't give a tour of the building that he works in because he gets lost all the time. But his assumption is that everybody else is as dumb as he is.
Now, here's the point that I hadn't really thought about. Now, I know we've been in the Capitol before, but he's right. It is a maze. I mean,
yeah, you walk in there, shit, you turn the wrong corner, you might have to beat a cop to continue down that aisle. It's funny.
And there's these little doors, and you go down another hall and opens. I mean, it brings up a very...
Yeah, it's almost like there were thousands of people there, and a good portion of them found their way through and then started shouting which way to go. If you send enough people in there, somebody's going to find a way through, and then the people following them are going to yell back at the people behind them and say, this way, and that's exactly what they did.
Good point, don't you think?
No, it's fucking stupid. You're stupid. This is stupid. This is genuinely stupid.
Absolutely. And the Capitol itself is a fortress for the most part. Those doors.
No, it isn't.
Doors can only be opened from the inside. It's not like.
Oh, God. Yeah, you know what, specifically, the windows don't work that way. Also, at the time, there were doors that were open and guarded, and by the time the people came up there, they had started to shut them, and these people kept them open and then attacked And yeah,
They pried them open. And real quick, Gene,
they pried them open. Yes, right. There you go.
I want to shout out Andrew Womack. When I was a penny looking for change and I defied the governor, he stood in my defense. Everybody attend this. I love that man. Thank you for...
I don't know what you're talking about. It's some other event they're doing together. It's just a name drop of
being a part of all that and encouraging him. As far as Ray Epps and this narrative that they wanted to create an insurrection, their whole narrative is falling apart.
No, it isn't. No. Where's the rest of the footage, by the way? Why did Speaker Johnson? Why did he say they're not releasing the rest of the footage? Anybody know? The other 3/4 of it. Remember why they? Oh, because they had to blur out people's faces so that they couldn't be, so that law enforcement couldn't go after those people. I think that's called giving aid and comfort to the enemy, which sounds like an insurrection act. Right. Exactly.
And you have Mark Ibrahim, who was a DEA agent who carried his weapon as a federal agent, was there that day, wanted to ensure that there wasn't any rioting, and now he's facing 15 to 20 years in prison.
Yeah, well, he was very unsuccessful. I think he just got time for being shitty. He was charged with being shitty at stopping riots.
Not because of the fact he was there with a weapon, not because he was doing anything illegal, but because he had the audacity to go on Tucker and say that they were undercover FBI agents because he knew them. One of them was his brother, and the others he had trained with, and now they're going after him. Siaka Massaquoi has now been...
Hold on. Wait, run that by me again. Back the fuck up. Hold on. And then I'm really going to pack this in. Hold on.
Not because he was doing anything illegal. He carried his weapon as a federal agent.
What was his name again? Hold on.
Being a part of all that and encouraging him. As far as Ray Epps and this narrative that they wanted to create an insurrection, their whole narrative is falling apart. And you have Mark Ibrahim, who was a DEA agent.
Hold on. Mark Ibrahim. CBS is okay. This is 2020 first. Let's see. There you go. Here we go. Ex-DEA agent accused of illegally toting service weapon during U.S. Capitol riot wins dismissal of count of lying to the FBI. So, okay, so he didn't lie to the FBI, but he's still facing charges for carrying a service weapon and wearing a badge in an unlawful gathering and all kinds of shit like that. A former DEA, accused of illegally bringing a service weapon to the Capitol riot on Jan 6 can dismiss a charge of lying to the FBI, a federal judge ruled. A partial victory for the defendant trims a 4-count indictment who was charged in July in connection with the breach of the Capitol. Prosecutors say that Ibrahim repeatedly flashed his DEA badge and firearm while allegedly storming the Capitol and asked a friend to photograph him to capture him doing so. A grand jury handed down an indictment accusing him of entering restricted grounds with a dangerous weapon, injury to property, bringing a firearm to Capitol grounds, and false statements. So the false statements part, they said he could drop. They agreed with the argument by Ibrahim's defense attorney, Marina Medvin, that a federal court in Washington, D.C. was the wrong venue to pursue the count. Okay, so it was they dropped it on jurisdictional grounds. Because they arrested him, at home in his home state? He lied. He didn't lie in D.C., he lied someplace else. Jesus. According to the motion to dismiss, federal authorities interviewed Ibrahim via Zoom when the ex-agent was in California. There you go. The man interviewing him, Jason Higler, was in Arlington. Prosecutors believe that Ibrahim lied when he told Higler that he never exposed his firearm, at least not that I know of, on restricted grounds. Medvin said that her client never entered the building. Her motion contains a transcript of a passage of the interview that forms the basis of the perjury count. I'm a big fan of constitutional rights and freedom of speech. Okay, and then what sort of, let's call it, a protective equipment did you bring with you? You bring your DEA creds? I did. I had my creds, I had my firearm, I had my badge on me. Okay, but never exposed. Okay, not that I know of. That's your DEA-issued Glock, whatever it is, the 19 or something? Yes. This is a picture of him. That's him getting someone taking a picture of him, exposing both on purpose for a photograph, his badge and gun. Great dude. Okay. And then let's jump back into this. Okay. What was his whole thing? I see. You have to. Says he's wrongly fired. False statement. This is the. Oh, he went on regular Tucker. Accused of lying about his role. Drug enforcement, first federal officer charged. Carlson's Jan. Oh, because he was in the Jan 6 doc. Okay. XDA charged with bringing for standing outside the Capitol during the thing against federal. Okay, charged the Capitol. Let's see. Is this the Tucker video of him?
By the FBI, but is it possible that some of the people there were actually reporting to the FBI and that they encouraged, as we said, others to commit crimes?
Well, let's see.
That's an entirely fair question.
It's a fair question. And the fair answer is no.
But for asking it, the usual propagandists and the news media denounced us with maximum hysteria as conspiracy theorists and unpatriotic. They're still
I don't know what the unpatriotic part of it. I think you're just a dipshit.
denouncing us now.
Well, also, doing it without evidence, or just on the kind of rando assertion of people who are being charged for actually violating the law that day, is kind of the issue. It's not. I gotta say, it's not even the like unpatriotic part of it or what have you. Like, you just seem stupid.
But as it turns out, we were right to ask those questions, and tonight we'll show you.
Well, you're never wrong to ask a question. The difference is, are you making assertions or if you're telling the truth? But let's
why.
see.
Mark Ibrahim is a 32-year-old Army veteran who served in Iraq. On January 6th of this year, he was a federal agent. He worked for the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA. Ibrahim says he went to the Capitol that day because he was invited by an FBI informant, a man he had known in Iraq. We have confirmed.
Okay, so this guy's an FBI informant. Is an FBI informant an FBI agent? No. Was the guy an informant before you got to the Capitol? Or did he become one because shit went south? Because again, a bunch of these people, and let's be abundantly clear, this motherfucker, what he is not telling people and what they're hiding specifically is that a bunch of these people went to the Capitol that day, engaged in a lot of this shit, and then when they realized the law was coming after people who were there, they called in and turned other people and said, I was there, but this was the real motherfucker. And I'll tell you other stuff you want to know if you just don't leave me the fuck alone. There are a bunch of those motherfuckers. And when they say FBI informant, the assumption is that they were FBI informants all the way up to the event and after, or just up to it, and it was a rig. When in reality, the vast majority of the FBI informants in dealing with this, the court records show, were people who went, oh fuck, I'm in trouble, and tried to buy their way out of it with information.
Confirmed this is true.
Because they lost, because it was a failed insurrection.
We've reached out to that man, the man that Ibrahim went to the protest with. He denies he encouraged anyone to break the law, but that man did confirm that he has been an FBI informant. He confirmed the FBI knew he was at the Capitol that day, and he confirmed he invited Mark Ibrahim to the protest.
Yeah, but in what order? I mean, I'm not saying that this guy's one of those folks, but if he's been an informant previously, maybe he thought this is his day to take power, and who did he inform on? Again, if you're an FBI, let's just say you're an FBI informant on something, and this is before you joined the Proud Boys, and you were just like, I'm going to sneak in and into an Antifa group and inform on them. And so previously you'd been an informant. Then you were a big Trumpy. Then you thought you had orders to go attack the Capitol. And then you're like, oh, fuck, I'm going to go to jail. And then you inform on people there. Like, I'm going to need the timeline. Does that make sense? Does any of this make sense to people? Am I the only person who gives a fuck about the rules?
Ibrahim says that if the two of them stood outside the building, the FBI informant turned to him and strongly encouraged him to enter the Capitol building. Ibrahim knew that was illegal, so he refused to do it.
He was also carrying a badge and gun.
Ibrahim did not enter the Capitol that day in the end. He did not
What? He just stood at the door and helped them push through?
destroy property. He did not brandish his DEA-issued weapon. He did.
Well, brandish, you mean pull it out? He showed it, and he had it. The question is, if you were there with a gun on Capitol grounds, the point is that You're going to wait until you see the whites of their eyes, effectively. This motherfucker wasn't going to draw down until they had gotten past the cops.
Did not remove it from its holster. He did not commit any violence of any kind.
Well, the idea is that he didn't have a chance to.
In fact, he repeatedly remarked that he disapproved of the rioting he saw at the Capitol.
As ineffective?
We know that he did because he said so on contemporaneous video. So that seemed to be the end of the story.
What was his criticism? Why not roll it? Roll the video. You've got a little fucking window there. Roll the fucking video. What did he say? Did he say, I don't believe in political violence. Everyone go home. Can you dig it? Or did he go, they're doing it all wrong?
An American citizen standing at a constitutionally protected political protest in his nation's capital. The next day, he flew to Los Angeles on a commercial flight. And on the flight, he carried his sidearm, which is legal. Federal agents in good standing are encouraged to keep their weapons with them. And he did. And the feds knew about it because he was on a plane. But then things took a bizarre and stunning turn. The DEA fired Ibrahim from his job for going to that protest on January 6th. When he came on this show to tell that story, Joe Biden's Justice Department doubled down.
Well, in Joe Biden's Justice Department's defense, there was a lot of shit to get through, and he wasn't one of their primary targets.
This week, the feds charged him with a number of felonies, including being...
You mean the ones he committed?
Being too close to a federal monument. That would be Section 5104 of the U.S. Code, the law that makes it a crime to, quote, step on or climb on any statue, seat, wall, fountain, or other architectural feature, or any tree, shrub, plant, or turf in the Capitol grounds, end quote.
Right. Yeah, easy one not to break. Probably the easiest rule not to break. You could just, you ever, this is a law that you go, hey, if you step there, you're breaking the law, but if you stay there, you're fine. That's pretty much the easiest one.
Mark Ibrahim now faces 15 years in federal prison. This is a
because he broke those laws while carrying a gun, and he used his badge to illegally move through the crowd or to encourage them just by being there with them.
Task and a shocking story, but it is real. Mark Ibrahim joins us now, along with his attorney, Darren Ritchie.
His attorney's there to make sure he doesn't say shit that will get him in more trouble.
Thank you both for joining us. Darren Ritchie, first to you as the attorney. It's hard to see based on the facts and the...
And they gave me all the video that I didn't release. I've seen it, but I'm not putting it out because when I did put a little bit of it out, it involved a bunch of other people getting arrested based on the footage that we released and doing more time, and we got sued, and therefore I'm just pretending I didn't see the rest of it. And
the 16-page charging document that we have read, what exactly the crime is here that would justify 15 years in prison?
Well, to me, it looks like we really have a department.
Well, here's the thing. This is the argument I've had that's ongoing in chat room. You know this. Attempted murder should get the same amount of time as the actual murder. Just because you showed up with a gun and you weren't able to discharge it on Capitol grounds when you knew that A, you weren't supposed to be on Capitol grounds, period. You didn't have permission to do so. You were breaking the law doing that, and you were armed. That's the problem. Because if you don't get busted for it, and especially if you tried to illegally use your badge to get past other people, which I don't think they say he tried to use it to get past cops, but that he was just going, I'm with you, this kind of idea, so that again, and all those people who are like, there were cops that were on our side, they were letting us through. How many people fucking saw this asshole in his badge and thought he was an FBI agent, that he was the guy encouraging them? Half this might be just cover to get him out in the clear.
Department of Justice seeking quantity over quality. I don't see any crime here. The particular crime that you just mentioned with regard to 5104, in particular Section B, describes injuries to properties. No property was injured, no person was injured, no violence was committed.
No, he engaged in the violence by participating in it as part of the crowd. He had a gun. He brought a gun. He went there, people crossed the line, he crossed the line with them carrying a gun.
Enter.
He went all the way up there. There's a fucking picture of him standing at the door of the Capitol. Like, I don't give a fuck that he chickened out at the last minute. If he'd have gotten bonked on the head because somebody went, that guy's really a cop, and they took his gun and went and shot somebody, it'd be his fucking fault.
Breach Capitol grounds whatsoever. There's no crime, and we intend to defeat all of the charges in
good luck.
Short order.
And there's not even, again, having read it, I can say, an allegation of a crime that I can see, certainly of a felony that would justify 15 years in the charging documents. Mark, thank you very much for coming on. I just want to be very clear about.
I just want to be really clear about something. You're a DEA agent, right? And fentanyl is the one thing that's, besides heart disease, that's killing more Americans than anything else. And you as a DEA agent thought it was a better use of your time to attend a Trump rally with your gun and badge and then storm the Capitol with a bunch of assholes when you could have been at the border stopping fentanyl? Why is that?
One thing. The man who invited you to this event is...
and by the way, what we really, all of us, I think, want to know is what flavor chapstick was he wearing?
Is a longtime FBI informant. He's confirmed that to us. He was a friend of yours. He may still be a friend of yours. While
Right. So you're both friends. He's an FBI informant. Why the fuck should I believe you? Why? How do I know they're not going to put you in jail just to put maggots in jail and then let you out and give you... How do we know this isn't just a ploy because you were so photographed to give you a new identity and move you someplace?
While you were there, and I want to be clear on this.
And who did he inform on? Drug dealers? I'm sorry, which side of the law was he on at this point?
He encouraged you to breach the Capitol. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. I think he asked me to go with him to protect him, and I think he was there to document. Both him and I were seeking...
And you were like, nope, you're on your own. I'm going to stand out here with my gun flashing it at people.
To protect the public that day. We went there with the intention of seeking those who wish to do our government harm, to stop them, and to protect those who peacefully protest.
And then suddenly you were just in a crowd of a couple of thousand people who were attacking police officers and managed to stomp Roseanne Boylan to death while she was having an overdose. And then, of course, shove Ashley Babbitt through the crowd so she could be to the front so she could meet her maker that day. It was great. You did a bang-up job, no pun intended.
While I was there as well, I walked up to the FBI SWAT team, a team that courageously entered that building and rescued the Capitol building, and I offered assistance to them. Individuals on that team have my personal phone number. And yes, I was carrying my firearm because I was a credentialed DEA agent. I'm expected to. My brother is a credentialed...
You're also expected not to be engaged in political riots and political protests while wearing your badge and gun. You don't get to do both. That's the fucking problem. If you're going to be part of the protest, take your shit off and leave it at home. You're a civvy when you do that.
FBI agent, and he was carrying his firearm. Everyone there was safer that day because both of us had our firearms.
How so? How? Who were you going to lay down fire on? Maggots? Other people? Why aren't we talking about you as an FBI link? You went over, your buddy informed the FBI, you went over and offered what, your services? You had a gun on you. What are you just getting in trouble because it was just your dumb idea and you're going to jail for it? And you're like, but I was there to shoot maggots. I just didn't have a chance.
I don't think the informant that I brought to the rally that day was...
Did everybody hear that?
Arms. I don't think the informant that I brought to the rally that day was malicious. I don't think the informant that I brought to the rally that day was malicious. I don't think the informant that I brought to the rally that day was malicious or trying... I don't think the informant that I brought to the rally that day was malicious or trying...
See, because I had a picture from the discussion that happened before you were brought onto the show that it was the other way around, that he brought you, that he invited you, that, but he managed, he was an informant. You brought him to the rally. You spoke to the FBI, offered your services, and you were there to, I don't know, you did,
I don't think the informant that I brought to the rally that day was malicious or trying to entrap me in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I mean, then were you trying to entrap him? You brought him. Would he have been there otherwise? Hang the fuck out. Like, seriously. All right. And that little nugget was brought to you by the lovely assholes over at Flashpoint. And this fuckwad who thought that guy is a great example of how there were fibbies everywhere and it was all a big setup. I don't think the informant that I brought there that day was malicious. Really?
The past wasn't that long ago.
But
hold on, I gotta hit play on this side.
Falling apart. And you have Mark Ibrahim, who was a DEA agent who carried his weapon as a federal agent, was there that day, wanted to ensure that there wasn't any rioting, and now he's facing 15 to 20 years in prison, not because of the fact he was there with a weapon, not because he was doing anything.
Well, it was part of it. It was one of the charges.
Illegal, but because he had the audacity to go on Tucker and say that they were undercover FBI agents because he knew them. One of them was his brother. And
that, I don't know what the brother part, I mean, I think he calls him brother. That's not what I heard in this, but it also sounds like he brought that guy, not the other way around.
The others he had trained with, and now they're going after him. Siaka Massaquoi has now been arrested at the airport with his pregnant.
I'm not even going to try and spell that one and look him up. It'll be the same dead end we saw with the other one.
Wife. He spent less than 2 minutes in the Capitol, walked in, was invited in, and was asked to leave and left.
Invited in?
Peaceably. But because of the narrative of contending that this wasn't an insurrection, now they're coming after him.
So just 2 minutes? Just 2 minutes. 2 minutes. What? How long did it take him to step over, the body of of an unconscious police officer, or in his 2 minutes of walking in, did he slip in any of the blood? I'm supposed to boo fuckity who about this when you assholes think you should have there should have capital punishment for people who burned down Targets during the George Floyd riots, and I'm supposed to fucking whimper because this asshole who went all the way up the steps, went through the entire process of these assholes storming their way in, beat their way. Which door he enter, motherfucker? I guarantee we look this dickhead up, he's going to be in the group that went through the main fucking door that was pushing on the cops, the fucking heave-ho crowd, right? That, like, walked in a door, was invited in. Jesus Christ. Like, are all maggots vampires?
This is just the endless litany of attempts to try to label this an insurrection. And
for the record, failed insurrection. I would like to say, I'm not giving it enough credit to make it an insurrection. They tried, they lost. Boo-hoo, you win nothing.
Their whole narrative is completely falling apart.
No, it isn't. You know what's falling apart? The legal defense that a bunch of these people had initially, and that's why they ended up taking pleas.
And they are desperate.
They are desperate.
I don't know what the fuck happened to Lanny Walnuts, though. It has been a long time, but he's scaring the fuck out of me. What is that? What is happening? Jesus Christ. Did he go to, like, Jack Nicholson's makeup artist and go, give me the scary ones?
I mean, now, one thing here, Lance, Clay has a career in law enforcement. This isn't just, a guy that's going, hey, it doesn't look right to me. No, he knows what to look for. So he's investigating. He's been very careful with his words. You can tell he's very measured.
No, he isn't. He's just quoting from that fucking Tucker Carlson interview that we just looked at, and he's misquoting it.
With what he says, because he knows he'll be held hostage if he makes
hostage. Oh, fuck you.
Makes a wrong comment.
How about calling them hostages is I would say, a wrong comment.
No, do you think
I'm sorry, did someone storm into did Joe Biden send shock troops after you, Gene the Jesus machine?
You see this as gaining ground, Lance, or do you think it's just going to get swept under the rug again?
No, the moment I heard it, which was just 24 hours ago.
Yeah, I knew immediately that the Lord was telling me a prophecy that, unlike the other ones I've had, will actually be even maybe remotely close to possibly even existentially, if not in reality, true-ish.
I played it again, and then I played it a third time, and I'm going to probably print it out and make it a transcript, because here's what he said. He's a Christian, by the way, for those of you that are Christians.
I'm sorry, do non-Christians watch this show ever? What? Does anybody watch this show except me and you guys when I put this shit on?
And I say that because it adds an element to when you hear him, how he has a sense of fear of the Lord, that he doesn't want to embellish. He doesn't want to manufacture. He wants to judge rightly, like a man who's got to account to God for what he's saying and thinking. And here's what he said that you have to listen.
I don't know. He can't be talking about the last guy on the show. It's got to be related to some other fucking I don't know. Play the fucking clip. We don't know who you're talking about. Nice edit.
Listen closely to get. The FBI has a national network of undercover agents embedded in Antifa, embedded in BLM, embedded in their Proud Boys and the One Percenters and the Oath Keepers. And the goal of that network was to stimulate and incite and provoke one another to good works. They made sure that there was going to be activities showing up at that event where there would be other, like the Antifa crowd, which we saw. I think we just did
What? Wait, so the FBI has people embedded in Antifa to get Antifa to what? Eat a bunch of shitty food, get type 2 diabetes, go to 65 Trump rallies, and then drive themselves to D.C. on their own fucking dime, and then storm the Capitol with the material to build a gallows?
A video of last night. We revealed it. We've got the underground networks. We've got the agents that are embedded in those groups that are all dressed like MAGA people.
No, you don't. Okay. No, you don't. Well, please show me what this video is. Please, like, what a ass edit. You can't reference this shit randomly without giving me the name the fucking thing.
This man.
Say it.
And here, Clay Higgins says,
oh, that's the Tucker Clay Higgins clip?
Guaranteed 200, probably more like 400 or 500 agents in and around the Capitol. What were they doing?
Okay. FBI agents are in the Capitol all the time. Also, around the Capitol is Washington, D.C., where FBI headquarters exist. Also, the difference between an informant and an agent is, I think, besides legally, there's a myriad of things that an informant can't do that an agent can do. You can lie to an informant. You can't lie to a FBI agent, but also the informants can't carry a gun legally. They can't arrest somebody, and they sure as fucking can't enter the Capitol without permission. Jesus Christ.
They're dressed like MAGA people. They were there.
Oh my God. I gotta say, the only person that fits the description that they're making right here of a law enforcement agent who was there in league with the FBI, who knew an FBI informant, and who brought that person, their own words, brought that person to the Capitol that day, is this fucking guy. And he's going to jail for 15 years. Probably 8.
There to make sure that the innocents went in to the...
No innocents went in. The innocents stayed out. That's what made them innocent. Also, the people who deeply believe in God's plan and all that kind of stuff don't need to storm a fucking Capitol to help him carry it out. That's just dumb. That's the workings of man. And you as a alleged preacher should know this, you fucking moron.
Trap that was set so that they could interrupt the procedure on evaluating the legitimacy of the ripped-off election. That was their goal. Change the narrative.
Yeah, it was changing.
Right.
Now, if you watch,
It was why everything that they were doing would have gotten voted down. They didn't have enough votes in the Senate to actually stop it. I mean, they could, senators could sponsor what the House members were saying. But they didn't have enough votes to move forward. It was already past that point.
watch last night, we played the video. If you didn't see last night, go back on Rumble. And
Also, the attack happened before that process was supposed to happen. Hilarious. By the way, it's so nice, and most of them are on Facebook. It's nice we have some maggots in here as well. I'm sorry I'm screwing up Flashpoint for you. Welcome. Glad you could be here. You help us out in the algorithm more than anybody else.
you can pull it up. And listen, last night we played a clip from former Vice President Mike Pence saying he trusted Director Wray, that there were no FBI. And after all, if he says there's no FBI, there's no FBI. Here's what Lance was referring to, the clip from Clay Higgins there with Tucker, about the number of people inside. Watch.
When you say that there were FBI assets in the crowd.
No. They have been saying agents. Assets don't count. And again, if you're an asset after the fact because you're going to get busted, that's got to count for something. I got to know when you became an asset. And a lot of these assholes became assets after they fucking lost.
In the building beforehand and certainly outside.
Certainly.
What's the scale?
I got to say for the record, isn't every member of Congress, technically speaking, an FBI asset? They pay for them. They okay the funding. They are legally obligated to share intel with them and to them.
All of this, you're talking like 10, 20?
No. Based upon some very conservative, but like hard investigative effort, evaluation of the numbers, from putting together eyewitnesses and videos and affidavit statement and whistleblower statements and court records that have been revealed through individual criminal cases where J6 defendants have been prosecuted. And
by the way, almost every January, I would say every single January 6th prisoner, because there are hundreds of them. Those folks, listen to me real close, gather around. Those people were being sought by the FBI. People turned them in. Sometimes multiple people, whole fucking families turned on these people because they're assholes and they were violent. Those people are now technically FBI witnesses. They're assets. They're informants. They informed on their family member or their friend or their former whoever or their boss or whoever the fuck actually did that. And when that person got busted, that person is now the witness or the person who called it in, either in reality, like like openly or covertly. Like either didn't want their name given or they served as a witness. And there were multiple people per Jan 6 fucking attacker. So yes, there's hundreds of FBI assets engaged in this. They had to be. The charges are from the FBI. Anybody who informed on one of these people is an FBI asset now. Oh, God. Like I said, even including that one dude who threatened his family if they turned on him, and they all did.
Smart attorneys have forced admissions by the DOJ and the FBI, but those admissions have been sealed within the parameter of that criminal case by protective order by the judge, so I can't share them. But
well, how do you know them? You don't get to just see it because you're a congressperson. Bullshit. He's just bullshitting. This is bullshit. This is just bullshit, just for the record. He's bullshitting. The Congress people don't get to go, if there's a protective order or a seal on an indictment or something like that, a congressperson can't just walk the fuck down to the court and go, it's okay, I'm a congressperson. Let me see that person's legal case. Never. Fucking never. And if they could, like, in reality, if that was actually a possibility, conservatives of all people would be up in arms.
I've seen them. So real hard, objective, and conservative.
Okay, bullshit. If you've seen them or seen anything like them, then the attorneys have shared them with you, and therefore you don't need to see them sealed in the fucking thing. You could just give the information. Their attorneys told me it was this person. You could do that. You're a congressperson. They could tell you if they wanted to. If they had permission from their, unless it was a witness or somebody that was the judge ordered that person's life was in danger because they couldn't be known. It's just dumb.
Estimates would put the number of FBI assets in the crowd, outside, and working inside at well over 200.
200?
Yeah.
Again, there's like 900 people have been charged already. The fact that there are only 200 people there who are like, that motherfucker, he was right next to me. He was the one kicking that cop's ass. There's a bunch of those fucking people. They didn't, again, this is like these people just flipping on each other.
Well over 200.
Yep.
All right, so Rob, you can tell.
All right, anyways, this is just dumb. Love you guys. Thanks so much. Sorry I went long, but this was driving me nuts. This is what happens. It's a fucking rabbit hole. It's a goddamn rabbit hole of nonsense. But anyways, thanks for being here, especially the maggots. You guys don't understand how much of a gift you are, that you get me out into the algorithm in a way that the regular show watchers can't do, because I just show up in there. Somebody who watched this also watched this, which is very helpful, and I thank you. Don't forget to like on your way out the door. But when maggots show up and the trolls show up, they do me a special gift, because they make this show up in their feed that says they watched something, but they also watched me. And people go, who the fuck is that guy? What? He's got lovely hair. Love that guy. He's super funny. He's really interesting. Oh, I hate him. He's ruining my whole political ideology, but his hair is amazing. Like, that's what they do. And so I thank you for giving me that opportunity by opening. It's almost like, let me see, what's an analogy you guys could use? It's like I'm approaching the Capitol. I'm there for peaceful reasons, but I'm very angry. I'm emotional. My patriotism is swelling. And I'm about to take a police shield that I just found and smash a window and go in that way. And instead, you're standing there. You don't agree with me, but you're like, here, I'll open the door. Go through this way. And I appreciate it. I thank you. And I know you're an FBI sorry, I mispronounced it, asshat. But I want you to know that I that's the one area, at least we can bond on that. That and, of course, the kidney. Mm-hmm.